Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Rei-Lin, and I'm back. And today I'm going to be talking about a game that a lot of people have been waiting for and really been clamoring over and talking about lately. It's Destiny 2, and it's on PC. I got to play around in the closed and then open beta. There's basically an extra day for people that pre ordered it. So I guess it was still the open beta, but, early access to the beta kind of going on. Well, either way, I was live streaming this. I do have a live stream, by the way. I'll get to that later on. But and I thought I might as well just clip the parts where there's some action and me being terrible at the game. Despite this being like the third time I went through this mission, this is the Inverted Spire. It's a strike. I considered it to be more or less just like a dungeon in any other RPG or MMO. People are saying there's actual dungeons and raids, and these are just like another thing to do. So, excuse some of my noobness in this because I did not play the original Destiny. I did own the console, and it never came to PC, so I didn't bother with it. I always liked the look of it. I watched plenty of people play it and stream it, and I was hoping that Destiny 2 would be a good game. And as far as what I played in the beta, I think it's a really good game. Obviously, I'm missing a lot of the nostalgia from the first one, and of course, people are divided because they have made changes to the game in the second installment here that a lot of people didn't like. And of course, you're going to have those people that will never be happy regardless of what they changed or whatever. Some people thought it felt too much just like a DLC for the original Destiny, and it took a lot of talking back and forth to kind of convince people that there is quite a bit that is changed from the original game, and you might see some of that in the gameplay as I just kind of chat over top of it. But for me, somebody that's coming into this with just fresh eyes, never played the original, I think it's really good. I was really impressed just because, well, visually, I think the game looks really good. The consoles don't have quite nearly the detail that the PC version has, and running at 60 frames per second instead of 30, running at a full 100% render scale instead of 55%. Um, it's just really beautiful to look at. The animations are great. The game runs really smooth. I didn't have a single glitch, weird thing, anything happen. It was really smooth, and that's saying a lot because these days a lot of betas have a lot of bugs and a lot of weird stuff that happens. It may have happened to other people, but it did not happen with me, and I was really impressed by how nice it looked. Uh, Watching other people stream it and getting in on the conversation with their chats, it turned out that a lot of people just they really liked how it looked just because it was so smooth. Everything just kind of glided along and it was really pretty, and there weren't any major graphical hitches or anything like that. So I have to agree. There was a lot that I really liked about the game, and it just played really good. Uh, just nothing really bad to say other than that it's actually really freaking hard in a lot of ways, and there's a lot to learn. And me being the noob that I was, obviously I didn't know what was the best for doing certain things. I didn't realize that there are ammo types are specific for doing specific things and stuff like that. So it was a learning experience for me, and I'm glad because that's what I like. I like getting in and exploring and finding hidden things and learning how to play the game before I start jumping on YouTube or reading some kind of FAQ or a forum about, well, how do you do this? How do you do that? I like kind of figuring it out for myself. And overall, I can't really knock the game. I think they've done a really good job of bringing it to the PC. Some people commented that this feels more like it was built to be on a PC rather than anything else. Like the console's got a PC port, not a PC got a console port. And I think, yeah, maybe that's definitely how they started this out on the design. Even though the consoles are releasing, I think the PlayStation 4 version comes out on September 5th, maybe the 6th, 5th or 6th, something like that. But the PC does not come out until October 24th, and that's just the date they have for the moment. That could change. It could maybe pull up a little bit. It could be pushed back. It's hard to say. Uh, but at least the consoles are getting a couple of month head start. Not that it really matters. I don't think either of the consoles will be playing with the PC. They might cross over. I don't know. I haven't really looked up the specifics on how they are going to go about doing that, or if they are at all. But as far as doing these dungeons and stuff like that, it was very limited on the beta. You had a casual PvP map, a competitive PvP map, and then you had this strike, which was the Inverted Spire. And that's pretty much it. You either wanted to grind some PvE, which was just doing this dungeon over and over and over, or you wanted to grind PvP, which was just getting kills and being killed repeatedly over and over and over. The PvP, it allowed you to get all the same gear that running this strike would get you. So in some ways it might be faster than just grinding this out. But, there wasn't a lot to be had, unfortunately. You didn't get any of the missions where, you go out on the planet and you can run around on your speeder and or anything like that. It was pretty just get in here with a couple of randoms and shoot the crap out of everything that moves and, get to the boss and get some loot. Obviously the models and stuff changed. There were multiple weapons for each class, multiple armors and multiple armor sets, and they all look different from each other. So, for what it was, it was truly the definition of a beta. And if they didn't add too much that you couldn't get done, and the beta was really, really short. It was only 3 days long, or 4 if you pre-ordered it. But even in that time frame, I saw a lot of streamers that were just going 24/7 on the game and just really getting everything that they wanted out of every dungeon. They had all the weapons that were in the game. They had all the outfits and armor that was in the game. So they still had a little bit of customization that they could do even with the short beta time that we had. So overall, I think the game is going to do really well, especially on PC. And I already know that there are a ton of people that are going to use a controller on the PC version just because that's just what they got used to on the home console. So they're just going to stick with it because that's just how they like. And obviously there's nothing wrong with that. Now, it's not to say there weren't some problems with the game and the gameplay as far as opinions go. I mean, I didn't have that many gripes about the game, but later on as I was playing and people were kind of getting in here and starting to do speed runs and blowing through this instance, this strike, I should say. I'm so used to instance-based MMOs, which is basically what this is. But doing this strike, in like 7 minutes. They start to finish in 7 minutes. They barely killed anything. You just did the bare minimum of what you had to do, and then you just ran like hell to the end boss. I mean, that stuff is kind of cool. You can do speed runs. That's nice that you're not always blocked behind some kind of cinematic that you have to watch, or, oh, you always have to kill this one guy to move forward into the next area. You can kind of skip some of it, and that's kind of nice that you can technically speed run it. And I'm hoping they're going to add a few more things. There were some hidden things in these levels that were like random spawns, sort of like rare spawns in World of Warcraft, except they would randomly spawn in the actual strike. So, right at the very beginning of the game, you saw me shoot at what looked like a giant eyeball looking thing. There was some stuff over there to kill, but my teammates here didn't see it or didn't care and didn't worry about it. But there were bosses that would spawn over there, and if you beat them, they would drop a loot chest. Unfortunately, there was nothing in the loot chest, but it's nice to know that, hey, there are certain things we should be looking for rather than just immediately getting in there and speedrunning. We should be checking out every corner of the map and making sure there isn't something that spawned that's going to give us some nice loot in addition to the end boss. So I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was actually kind of hard, and especially this part. I think in this part I ended up dying because I knew what was going to happen. I was trying to stay back and circle and make sure I could help my teammates. But these Voidwalker Warlock summoning things, like right there, I didn't even know what the hell even hit me right there. I was just like, suddenly I was just instantly dead, and a couple of us got hit with it. I still don't know what the hell it was. Maybe it was an attack from one of the dogs. Maybe something blew up and I just didn't see it. But whatever it was, I died and it sucked. Thankfully, The one teammate that we have that's still alive eventually does come over and is able to res us both. I do like the fact that we can just kind of sit here and res ourselves eventually, or they can res us, and it doesn't seem to be limited. As long as somebody's alive that can do some resurrecting, it's okay. You can just res who you need to res. It doesn't matter how many times they die. I don't know if there's any kind of durability stuff as far as the armor goes. There might be, but in the beta there really wasn't. I mean, basically we're at maximum level. We're at like 200 light rating and all of that. We have all this gear and all this all these abilities that are unlocked already. So it's kind of like we're sort of, you know, hacking the game in a way where we've got max level characters without having to go through any process of leveling up or anything like that. So that was kind of nice. They just kind of shoved us in there so that we could get full on in with the gameplay, see how the game is going to play towards the end game to sort of get us everybody hyped up and moving along on that kind of a way. So overall, you know, I think the game is really, really good. They've separated the weapons into different kinds of weapons. You have the kinetic, you have power weapons, you have energy weapons, and different ammo for each of those. The power weapons, like the sniper rifle, are really, really actually very powerful. Rocket launchers and grenade launchers also fall into that category. They're more like one hit kind of weapons, but the ammo is very limited. My sniper rifle only has 10 rounds, and it's really hard to pick up more going through the dungeon because almost no enemies actually dropped ammunition for my sniper rifle. But you saw just a couple of minutes ago that I was able to basically one-shot whatever I shot in the head with it. It does wonders on the end boss of this instance for sure, because you can take off big chunks of their health with that if you're hitting weak points or at least shooting them right in the face. Now this is a part that definitely killed many a guardian, and I'm of course no different. Even though, like I said, this is my second or third run through this dungeon, this part just still confused the hell out of me as to where in the heck we needed to go. You think you need to go one way, and then they put enemies in a different area, and then that makes you think that you need to go that way, and you actually don't. If you were paying attention, coming up here, there'll be a gap in the wall, and that's kind of where we needed to go. You know, because they put enemies that you first see down below you, and then all of a sudden enemies start shooting you from above, and it just gets kind of like, uh-oh, and then you don't know what the hell is going on. Now, the enemies can actually get hit by those giant digging machines as well, which is kind of nice. You know, if you can lure them down away from it, they'll actually get hit. Now, if you get hit, depending on how you get hit, you might get bounced around, or it'll just kill you instantly. So, don't get hit. So luckily, I might have actually made it. But we just keep running into more and more stuff. Now, if you were speedrunning this, you can run past these guys. These dogs and any of these enemies that are hanging out like this, you actually didn't even need to kill them. I mean, it's not like any other MMO where you had to kill all the enemies to like unlock a door or move forward and get the objective to update. You literally just had to just run past them, literally. Had I known that, I probably would have been doing that. And see, now I'm already kind of lost because I wasn't sure exactly where my teammate went. It's not very clear. It's one of the things about having this minimal UI thing going on. But you see, if they get too far ahead, it actually brings everybody together like this. And I end up teleporting to them. Actually, I had a couple of players in a couple of my teams where that's exactly what happened. That he was actually speedrunning this so fast that, you know, it did that. And we ended up having to just get teleported to him. Now, this is the end boss. He does several stages. And as long as people are paying attention, he's actually fairly easy. The attacks that he does do hurt, and he does summon a shit ton of ads. So, as long as you figure out the mechanics, here's my It's High Noon. The golden gun is one of the supers that I have as a hunter. And I never got to try the other one, which was a staff. I think the other hunter in the group is staff build. So we already saw that super a while ago. It was she had a bunch of electricity around her, and I was in a very not want to be here kind of spot. So trying to haul ass and let my health regenerate here. So, yeah, this is one of the stages you see. He takes it away. Now, if you're like me and didn't realize that you took fall damage, you take fall damage. That will, if it doesn't kill you, it comes very close to killing you. So if the floor ever disappears, remember that falling kills you. And I didn't realize exactly how this was supposed to play out. I thought you just had to do what I do here, which is jump and stay off the floor. And it would come in like a wave. He'd do it close, and then he would do it on the outer ring. But in fact, if you just stand up on the pillars, you'll see some pillars just there to my left and right. And if I would have stood up on the pillars, the floor wouldn't have hurt me at all. It wouldn't have been a big deal. It's right there on my right, and I still haven't really seen it because I'm still not sure if I'm supposed to stand on that. I thought that the pillars also caught on fire. And here I'm fighting one of the problems in the game that I had, at least for this area. My character would start auto-bobbing up and down. I'm crouching right now, but the floor has a little bit of a plate, and she would get kind of stuck between where the plate stopped and where the actual floor that the plate was on started. So she was sitting there going blah, 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 blah. But anyway, the fight's pretty intense. There's a lot of stuff to keep track of, a lot of ways to get damaged. So we try to stay spread out, but that might not be the best way of handling it, because if anyone dies, you have to run a long way through a lot of stuff that's shooting at you to actually heal them and get them resurrected. I think I might survive. Woo! So close. But anyway, there were a couple of problems, and most of those problems were mostly from the PvP side of things. And the biggest thing with the PvP side of things wasn't really that anything in particular was wrong with it, but because of the changes they made to the weapons, some of the weapons were, like you see me holding a pistol here. They call them hand cannons. And that is a pretty appropriate name because they are literally big, huge, damaging monsters. And this one is, I think, the Sunburst is, in this at least, I was having a lot of fun with it because it shoots a little ball that blows up when it hits things. And it really tears down a lot of enemy shields. So I decided, hey, I'd use it. But one of the problems in PvP is that a hand cannon can more or less two-shot most of the players, especially if they get hit in the head. And making that a little bit more of a pain in the ass is the fact that this game has aim assist. Now, it has aim assist because it was on console and people were playing with controllers. And over 20% of the people that were polled, apparently, by Bungie was that they found out that 20% of the people that are going to buy and play the PC version of this are still going to use a controller. So they're kind of between a rock and a hard place because the aim assist, basically every time you aim down sight, it's going to pull your reticles almost to the area of right in the chest, just around the neck. Well, that's a problem because you're going to be able to get very, very easy headshots. And people that are really, really good at the game, meaning the people that played the first one, they're really good at first-person shooters in general, can wipe out a whole team solo using hand cannons that do basically two-shot anybody in the head and aim assist. And they can use mouse and keyboard, making it even more likely that they're going to get headshots. So a lot of people are petitioning right now that they just take it out of PvP. Leave it in the PvE. No one cares that there's aim assist in PvE when you're fighting these bosses. They just don't want it in the PvP. Regardless if they're playing with keyboard and mouse or if they're playing with a controller, no one cares. Get it out of the PvP. It has no place. And I would say, yeah, definitely don't have aim assist because it's just going to allow people to really wreck house, and it's just, you're not going to have a very balanced or fun experience if every time you take 5 or 10 foot walk, you're getting two shot in the head by somebody who is pretty much almost always going to headshot you. So at the end of the day, I would definitely agree with that. Everything else is just people that don't necessarily like some of the changes that they made to the classes. I can't be very specific, like I said, just because I never played the first one. But some of the skills seem like they're very good and have a lot of team synergy between the Titan and the Warlock, for example, and then really piss poor synergy with your team on a class like the Hunter. Pretty much none of her supers help the team in any way. None of the dodge rolls or skills that she has helps the team in any way. Whereas like the Titan has shields to protect their team, and the Warlock has a buff that they can put down that either gives you a damage boost or gives you healing, which is rare because there are no real tanks, healers, and damage dealers. It's kind of in between all of that. So the Warlock is really the only thing that has something that can heal you, and it's very useful because it's in your team, right? So, and I apologize that you get to see some of my taskbar here. The anti-cheat that Bungie has put into the game meant that I could only capture it with my window mode on OBS instead of just a full screen type of capture. So you're getting extra things at the bottom of the screen a little bit. But I think overall the game is going to do really well. Like I said, console, it's only a few days away. And the PC comes out in October. I want to hear your opinions on it. What do you all think? If you got into the beta, if you are buying the console version, what do you think about the changes? Do you think classes are too powerful, too weak? Do you agree that aim assist needs to get the hell out of there? It has no place in PvP and only in PvE, or maybe remove it completely? Just let me know down in the comments. And that's going to do it for this video. I just wanted to put this out here, give you a little preview, because I did have a lot of fun on the game, and I hope everyone else will have a lot of fun on the game when it comes out. I'll be streaming live on Twitch, a lot of other games, of course. I'll leave a link down in the description below so that you can check that out. I also have a Twitter now to make sure everyone gets a notice when I go streaming in case Twitch derps out. But anyway, that's going to do it. If you like the video, please press the like button down below. It surely helps out my channel. And if you haven't had a chance to subscribe to my channel, you can click at the bottom of your screen right now, and that'll get you all the latest updates every time I post something new to YouTube. Thanks a lot, everybody. Take care, and I'll catch you all next time.